Hey, Be Joyful Church. I want to give you a little bit of a heads up for Sunday morning, preview the message a bit, and just encourage you to join us. I hope that you can be here in person for Easter, if not, maybe online. But what an incredible thing to remember, what Jesus has done for us. And we're going to look back at that time, Jesus on the cross, the resurrection, and what that meant to his disciples through the lens of the letter that Paul writes to the Colossians. It fits right into our series. I'm going to read you the heart of this section of Colossians that speaks directly to this. This is from chapter 2, verses 13 and 14. And you, who were dead in your trespasses and the uncircumcision of your flesh, God made alive together with him, having forgiven us all our trespasses by canceling the record of debt that stood against us with its legal demands. This he set aside, nailing it to the cross. So many important theological principles are embedded in these few words. But before we got to this point in the passage that Paul writes, he has reminded us to hold to orthodoxy. Don't let the world teach you things that dilute what Jesus did and what it means to us. He wants us to know that we're going to be tempted to accept unorthodox views. It's in our nature to do it. But the heart of the truth is this, that we were dead and incapable, and he made us alive by forgiving us. And those are really the key points. He says you were dead, you were helpless, incapable, there's nothing you can do, and only Jesus could make it so that you could have life. It could not just resuscitate you, but bring you to life. Only him. And you are forgiven only through Jesus. You're freed of guilt, freed of the need to be perfect in order to be in the presence of a perfect and holy God. Amazing truth built into this. So different from any other religion, all focused on this very thing through this very act by this person who was both 100% man and 100% God. But here's the really cool way that Paul expresses it. He says, he took our debt and the consequences that would have come from it, and he nailed that debt to the cross. Amazing way of saying it. But, when you think about it, it wasn't that Jesus nailed some piece of paper, some document to the cross. He was nailed to the cross. And we have to remember that Jesus became sin for us. He became our sin. The magnitude and the reality of that is almost beyond the ability to comprehend. Paul says it a different way in 2 Corinthians 5, verse 21. He says, for our sake, he made him, that's Jesus, to be sin who knew no sin, so that in him we might become the righteousness of God. If religion doesn't make sense to you, this should make sense. You could not do it. He did it for you. He, even being perfect, put himself on the cross for you and took within himself the cost that you would have paid. He set aside our debt, nailing it to the cross. Amazing. All right, we're going to celebrate that Sunday. See you then.